Well, the idea, insight, or sales secret you need for massive impact is just moments away. It's time to get more clients. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Get More Clients. I'm your host, Lynn Whitbeck. Business owners and entrepreneurs hire me to ignite winning sales because most fail to connect, capture, and close their ideal clients. The mission of this show is to share Fortune 500 sales secrets to help you open the vault to your greater business success. Now, before I introduce Jane, who's standing by anxiously, I want to ask everyone if you've ever seen the TV show Parks and Recreation. And if you have, you'll recognize the character Tom Haverford. Now, there's a common theme in the series where Tom often attends business networking events and he enthusiastically talks about his various ventures. But by the end of the conversation, people are left clueless as to what he actually does. I don't know about you, but I've been there in real life, not in a TV show. So, in one super funny episode called Pawnee Rangers, Tom is pitching his entertainment company, Entertainment 720. His pitch is so scattered that no one in the room can tell what the company actually offers, leaving everyone around him perplexed. And I've already said that. You've all been there. I know I have. I've spent 15, 20, 30 minutes with people and still had no clue as to what they actually did, who they served, why it mattered. And so, in a networking event or virtual or at a conference, when the person we're introduced to seems to wander aimlessly, you know, it's absolutely a wasted time and energy for both parties. We leave frustrated and they don't get any kind of connection or traction. And that's absolutely true because I've spent, as I said, 15, 30 minutes on a one-on-one call. And at the end, I don't know what the other person does, who they serve, the problems they solve, and how they help. It's a jumbled up mystery. And unless there's something really, really intriguing, I'm just like, throw up my hands and move on, right? So there is good news. There's good news. For any of you who ever stumble when someone asks you, what do you do? There's a 17.5-second solution, the INTROmercial. And that's what Jane and I are going to be sharing today. So last week I shared from small spark to raving rapport. Let's get that right. Raving rapport, how to connect with prospects. And today, Jane empowers, the fabulous Jane empowers, and I will be discussing INTROmercial. 17.5 seconds to deliver a powerful, impactful message. With decades of successful speaking and coaching, and perhaps most important of all, real life experiencing, founding and running multi-million dollar businesses, Jane appreciates that success is truly about the power of your core message. Jane is known for her practical, down-to-earth style. Her fusion of savvy conversational techniques and real-life stories allow her to connect with her audience on an intensely captivating level. For over 25 years, Jane has been stepping into the spotlight with a signature talk, moving people to action to make more money, have more fun, and most of all, make a difference. So, Jane, I am so thrilled to have you here. Welcome to the show.
I always am so tempted when I'm hearing my introduction. I always want to throw in some joking comments, it just makes me laugh because I'm like, that's wonderful what they've said. So yeah, I'm so happy to be here. I'm happy to be here. And it's funny, Lynn, you said, when people go on and on, drone on and on, you're like, what the heck are they saying? And you're just like, you know what I do when I hear that? I ask them for their credit card. Because I'm like, for the love of God, you have got to clarify what you do. Nobody cares how you do it. but we just need to get cut to the chase so I know what you're offering me. And most people do not have, there's so many reasons, and we can get into that, but there's so many reasons that people over explain. And you got to get to the core. Why the heck are you over explaining what you do and people still don't know what you do?
Yeah. It's so true. And that's actually a really great suggestion as we move forward together. So, whatever your industry is out there, everyone is plagued with this aimless prospecting. And most don't know what they they don't know who they want to work with, let alone explain what they do in a way that people actually understand. So they're lacking that clarity. And so by the end of today's show, you're going to know the 17.5-second formula to deliver a powerful, impactful message that leaves people wanting more, and why the intromercial, federally trademarked, registered trademark, why the intromercial is your elevator pitch on steroids, and how the intromercial will help you open doors and maximize your impact. Now, the intromercial formula, what I love about it, it is a repeatable process to help you gain a consistent stream of clients. Never again will you be confusing, boring, and inconsistent. You want to be
Well, you
recognizable.
might be, you might be, but just not in 17 and a half seconds.
Well, absolutely. Everybody, you want to be recognizable and known. So, Jane, let's get into this and really sort of first, sort of the elephant in the room about the intramercial. Um, why is it your elevator pitch on steroids?
Well, there's so many, there's only a few shifts. I mean, it's the same concept, right? And it's funny because people are like, who gets in an elevator and pitches someone? I have done it thousands of times. I have been in sales for over 35 years and I didn't care. I mean, I was in sales, I had quotas, I had branches and businesses to build. So I've done plenty on an elevator. I just haven't used an elevator pitch. I and people ask me, how did you create this? I started to test the waters with using different statements. So let me start off right out of the gate. And Lynn, you can interrupt me at any time, but let's get right out of the gate. Stop saying I help. I help entrepreneurs speak with confidence, whatever it is, right? When you say I help, it sounds like you're a volunteer. You want to express that you have a bona fide business. So we're not going to go into every detail because we don't have the time, but to give you the basic idea, the very first thing you have to know is who the heck you work with. If you work with everybody and anybody, you actually market to no one. So pick one, men, women, I don't care, professors, CEOs, C suite, doesn't matter. Pick a population. And then you got to narrow that down because you do know you need to know where to go. But let's say for mine, entrepreneurs, I got typecasted, Lynn. I don't know how it happened. I worked in corporations with executives, and then all of a sudden I got down to this stream and I was carried away and essentially working a lot with business owners and entrepreneurs. I still work with executives, but so entrepreneurs hire me. If you work with C suite executives, C suites, hire me. It expresses that you have a bona fide business. You're not saying, I help. It just is a very weak, not that it's a weak word, but in the manner by which you're using it, it doesn't have an impact. So, right out of the gate, entrepreneurs hire me. And do you want me to go through the formula real quick, Lynn?
Yeah, absolutely. I know that I want to really dive into the formula, but I want to add on, sort of piggyback what you're saying about the hire me and how important that is, because it is setting up immediately that you're a business. You know, you are in business, people hire you. And, in a world of DIY where you can find anything on YouTube or somewhere else, there is a difference about people trying to go it alone and figure it out on their own and hiring an expert who's going to walk them through creating, in our case, the intromercial. But it's very important. And I hear that word all the time, and I immediately correct people. Don't say that. Say don't say I help. Change that immediately. And the second point I want to make is by naming who your ideal client is, and this is absolutely critical, because sure, I mean, Jane and I are both sales, right? We can help anyone in sales. True. But we focus on specific areas of people that we help in sales. And there's a reason for that. I mean, I have a very B2B focused business. That's where that sweet spot is. And if I don't say business owners hire me, right? It's really important to focus on who that group is, because I don't sell to insurance brokers. I don't sell to financial advisors. I don't sell to lawyers. If I did, I should say that, because that immediately helps you position yourself. And also, who are you talking to? Are you talking to the right group to begin with? You need to really understand who your ideal client is so that
Yeah.
you are talking to them.
Yeah, and I think I'd like to. People used to say early on, you know the saying, "Get rich in a niche, get rich in a niche," and people would work with everybody and anybody, and their audience was this big, and then they'd work with someone or hear a YouTube video or go to an event, and people were like, "You got to narrow your niche," and what they end up doing is going all the way to here. Now what's happened, here's the danger. Now, I went from here to here. Was it by choice? No, it was sort of like, um, I got typecasted because my skill set was helping entrepreneurs be able to ignite, like truly impact and become successful. But here's what happens. Be very careful not to go from everybody and anybody to this 5'3" in the Midwest with blonde hair, drives a Ford. You can't go that narrow. Only reason is you. What it does is emotionally, mentally, intellectually, your brain goes, "Oh no, that's too narrow. Now I'm losing money here." And your concern becomes more about who you're not serving than drilling into who you would love to serve. So I tell people, if you're working everybody and anybody, just narrow it 20%. Don't go crazy. Narrow it 20%. It will happen on its own. So let's get back to the formula. You're so right. Most people want to work with everybody. If you're going to do the niching, you can have two niches. This is my philosophy. So not everybody else in the world. You can have a niche topic, sales. We can go anywhere and everywhere and sell that. But do we want to express that? No, if I'm going to the Plumbers Convention of America, what am I going to say? Plumbers hire me, and they're thinking, she's talking directly to me. Now, if you don't work with plumbers, don't say that, because then
don't go there.
Yeah, don't go speak at their convention. But so the very first thing out of the gate, know who you work with, and don't say I help. Entrepreneurs hire me too. And this is the hardest part. This is the hardest part of the entire formula. I promise you. It's called the Holy Grail. It's the ultimate outcome of what you do. Now, I'm going to give you a hint. You already have it on your website. You have it in a testimonial. You have it on a book title, your tagline. My book title happens to be Speak with Confidence, Sell with Authority. I wonder what that book's about. We all know what it's about. So entrepreneurs hire me to speak with confidence and sell with authority. Truth be told, I have sold rooms with that first statement. I don't even have to finish the rest of my statement. So your Holy Grail is the ultimate outcome. If you don't know the ultimate outcome of what you do, ask your clients. If you don't have any clients, here's the best hint of all. Go to your top competitor, look online, and find out what their clients are saying about them, because you can do the same thing. So start to R&D. Jay Facette calls it R&D, rip off and duplicate. So start to utilize it. Everybody does it. Everybody does it. I mean, I'm sure there was an intromercial somewhere in the world. I just happened to trademark. I always say this is the best trademark on planet Earth. But so here's who is it that hires you? Holy Grail. This is key. The next statement you will say can make or break your career. It can make or break your time in front of an audience. The word because it actually triggers in the mind this statement, question, why? It is scientifically proven. They did studies. I'm not making this up, Lynn. I know I do make some stuff up, but this I am not. They did a study. And where does that come from? Think back, right? You said to your mom or your dad or whomever, and you said, I want to go outside and play. And they go, no. And you go, why? What did they say to you? Because
you haven't
and
done your chores.
Immediately you go, why? And they go, because. And you why? It sets the pattern up. So when you say because, see, because you've already lost them after the first sentence, they're like, that's great. And they're off on a beach in Hawaii. When you say because, they come back. Why? That's exactly because why? Please add into that statement because most. Now, I'll tell you my intromercial. It's offensive if I don't say most. Entrepreneurs hire me to speak with confidence and sell with authority because most are boring, confusing, and inconsistent and cannot close a room. Now, what if I didn't put in most? Because you're boring, confusing, and inconsistent. That is rude. It's just rude. So soften it. And Lynn, we'll talk a little more in detail about some of this. When I say because most, I know I'm somewhat going to sucker punch them and tell them there are 3 pain points. That's the next phase of the equation. 3 pain points, boring, confusing, and consistent. I add another can't close the room to save their life. Usually I say, if I don't put in because most, again, it's offensive. Now, what I do is I actually shrug my shoulders. That's my apology. Because most, this is like, I'm sorry, I'm getting ready to tell you something that's going to hurt. Or this is a speaking tip. Now, I've been a professional speaker for over 35 years. Here's a professional speaking tip. Because most. Now, I'm pointing over there, not there. If I say because most of you people, it's rude. But if I go because most, and again, I'm so sorry, because most are boring, confusing, and inconsistent. Now, for those of you who love to say, I help, this is where you get to. But I'm going to give you the pattern interrupt. So, what happens when people say the word so? The next word comes out, what? So, what? So you're going to say so, brings them back in, I help. Connect, capture, and close your ideal client. You're giving them 3 top benefits. So, who do you work with? Holy Grail, 3 pain points, 3 benefits. You should have all of this memorized. Here's what I'm going to encourage you not to do. Please don't give them a dissertation of what you do. Find the highlights, the hot points, and hit it with emphasis. So that is your entire formula. Then you have the bottom line. The bottom line is somewhat of a summary. If someone doesn't get it and you go, oh, bottom line, every time you open your mouth, you make money. Well, if you didn't get the first line, speak with confidence, sell with authority, you sure as heck better get the bottom line. I'm telling you, 17.5 seconds. I've told this story many, many times, and I've created a very strong business. I've created 4 multi-million-dollar businesses utilizing messaging. I am no genius at business. What I'm a genius at is knowing how to grab people's attention so they know I'm speaking just to them. So it's really cut to the chase on who the heck are you working with? Use the right languaging, the right emphasis, and connect with their audience, with your prospect, whomever. Okay, there's your formula.
Yeah, and it's absolutely brilliant because this completely aligns with my formula of the Crown methodology, which is a sales blueprint. that's a repeatable, consistent process. And that first C is the client focused foundation, or thinking like your client, because this is about who do you sell to, who do you serve, and then really identifying that ideal client. And then what are those pain points, those top of mind, the things that keep them up at night, and then the benefits of working with you. What's the problem that you're going to solve, the solution that you're going to provide, what's that big so they can, the dream, the goal, the aspiration that they're trying to achieve. And that's so important, how this right in 17 and a half seconds tells everyone exactly who you serve, how you what they're experiencing, and the problems that you solve. I mean, it's brilliant, and there's so many different ways that you can use this. And that's the R of the crown methodology, of that repeatable, consistent, scalable process. Because your intromercial, if you guys haven't noticed, I use it at the beginning of every Get More Clients episode. Business owners and entrepreneurs hire me to ignite winning sales. So you can use this on so many places. We have it at the top of the fold on our website. We utilize it in my other podcasts. We utilize the same phrase and parts of it. We utilize it on lead magnets, on all kinds of my bios, on all the bios that are for speaking or for being a podcast guest. There are infinite ways that you can leverage this very short but incredibly powerful synopsis of who you are, who you serve, why it matters, so they can achieve what. And that's what I really love. I also want to talk about, Jane, because you and I are both originally authentic, that O in the crown methodology. And that's another piece about the intromercial that's so important, because you're not like everybody else. And really getting and drilling down into those, your ideal client, who they are, those pain points, and what's the difference that you make, and not using words that mean nothing. I would beg everyone, if you've ever used the word up level, please drop it. I mean, what does
Take
that
it to the
even
next
mean?
level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what are some of the ones that you really that
Oh,
strike you?
makes my hair stand up on the back of my neck when people say, I'm going to take it to the next level or up level your life. Here's the worst. Let's 10x your business. That makes me nuts. Most people haven't 10x their business, but everybody hooks on to the buzz of what's out there, and they think, oh my God, Brendon Burchard's doing it. I should use that line. No, you shouldn't. Like, you just shouldn't use it. And be unique in what you're delivering. Most times, what people end up doing, you know what one really bugs me too? Frustrated. Well, who can't? We're all frustrated. Like, that's the norm. Go to thesaurus and use that so that you can start to identify new words. What's really important in the intromercial, and please understand, we're here to help you with that. Don't hate us, because you'll do an intromercial. It'll be 45 minutes long. Most of them are. No, it'll be about 45 seconds long. You'll get it down to 30 seconds. And then what we need to do is start to really streamline it. This is a living, breathing statement that allows you to really adjust as you are growing in your business. And now, trust me, I don't mean growing in your business like, oh, I'm brand new. Growing in the manner by which you communicate. And if you are brand new, start off right. Don't make the mistakes everybody else is. And I have a really good tip in this market.
Yeah.
You've got to be caring, validating, but also very direct. We're in a weird climate, a weird environment in our world, and you got to stop beating around the bush.
Yeah.
You got to stop. That's why I say boring, confusing, and inconsistent. I did not used to say that. It felt, oh, that's so mean. As I got more and more successful, people appreciated me cutting to the chase. Like, oh
Yeah.
my God, just and I would say, this is the best thing you could say to a client or an audience. May I? You know what it's like, Lynn? It's like, bless your heart. That means
Yeah.
you're getting ready to kick me in the shins. So, may I? Don't shoot the messenger, but let me give you my perspective on these things. These are all professional speak. I've spoke to thousands upon thousands of individuals, and I've said some of the most direct things. And I have people come up to me afterwards and say, "You just saved me a year of hard work." And here's what I'm going to tell you: what creating an intro, and I'm not selling. Well, I sort of am, but creating an intromercial is not easy. I remember
Yeah.
I was being courted for about a year, too long to work with an individual. I didn't want to pay. I didn't want to pay that much money. I'll figure it out myself. I'm gonna do it myself, or I'll YouTube it. I could build a spaceship on YouTube. I should be able to build a business. There's certain things that you, because you're in the frame, you can't see the picture. So I remember I'm like, I couldn't get over that hump. I was making this seven figure, I was making the million. I couldn't get it further than that. I was like, my gosh, I really need to do X. I ended up writing a check for $100,000 to a coach. $100,000. People, I invest in real estate. I don't invest in others. I'll tell you right now, I wrote that check and I soared into over 2 million in 1 year because I honed in my skills. I already had my messaging. I knew how to sell. I just needed to fine tune what you're doing so that you can, ready, Lynn, take it to the next level.
It's
Don't
so
ever
true. And
say that.
I love that metaphor that you're inside the frame so you can't see the picture. And that is so true. You know, we get too close to those things. And that's
Videotape
where
yourself.
absolutely. And the intromercial, this formula is so brilliant. Thank you so much for sharing all going through the whole formula and how it's going to impact your business and provide that clarity instantly and that directness about what you do, who you serve, why it matters. And for those of you who are joining us either live today or you're watching the video, maybe you're listening to the podcast, Jane and I both, we want to promise you one thing. She just said you can't hate us if you can't create your own 17 and a half second intromercial. Even though we've given you the formula, you know, I'm going to give you fair warning right now, just as Jane did. It's not easy. And my team and I are happy to help you if you get stumped. We're not setting you up for failure. We're going to get you everything you need to get you going. And we're going to be there to pick you up if you'd like our support. So in the notes below for the show notes, our intromercial link is right there. So want to make sure everyone's got that. And finally, as we wrap up today, I am always want to hear what your biggest takeaway from this episode was. I mean, Jane, what was your biggest takeaway?
Oh, people need their messaging. I mean, it's that's so clear. It hurts my heart when I see people out there rambling.
Yeah, absolutely. And for those of you, Jane, thank you so much for helping me explore the intromercial 17 and a half seconds to deliver a powerful, impactful message. And the key is for you to implement these steps to stop wasting your time, energy, and resources. And go ahead and check the link below to get your intromercial. Jane and I are there to help you and to make sure that you are never boring and inconsistent. All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us. And thank you, Jane.
You bet.